Okay. Can someone tell me how many participants are there?
Ma'am,
Ma'am, 114. 114.
114.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone.
15.
Let's start for today's lesson. As I told you that I'll be demonstrating certain chemical reactions to you, which is from chapter metals and non-metals. So let's start with, should I start with non-metal or with metal?
Can we write it in our journals?
You will have to write down in your notebook.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, are you ready with a pen, paper and a notebook and everything?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Everyone is ready?
Yes.
Okay, first thing you have to note down the objectives. What is the objective of doing this experiment? Okay, so the objective is we are going to differentiate metals and non-metals on the basis of their chemical properties. So please note down the objectives.
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Ma'am, should we just write the heading as activity?
You can write the objective as differentiating metals and non-metals on the basis of chemical properties. Okay. So the first reaction.
Ma'am, what
right,
should be written in the
one,
index?
you will write number 1 as reaction of sodium with oxygen.
Ma'am, can you go a little slow?
Reaction of sodium with oxygen. That is the first. So let me tell you what all things we are going to do and then I'll show you. Okay. So you can write the first activity as
Ma'am, what
reaction
should be
of
written in the heading?
sodium with oxygen.
Ma'am, can you repeat once?
Reaction of sodium with oxygen.
Ma'am, due to connectivity issues, I had to join a bit late. So, ma'am, are we supposed to do this activity in our notebook or in the
You
journal?
have to write down right now what I am telling you to write.
Ma'am,
Then
but
next is
where? In
reaction
the
of
notebook or
sodium
journal?
with water. The next activity I
Ma'am,
will show
what should we
you.
write in the heading?
The main heading is differentiate between metals and non-metals on the basis of chemical properties. Okay. So first is reaction of sodium with oxygen. Then second is reaction of sodium with water. Third is reaction of sodium with sulfuric acid. Reaction of
Can you
sodium
repeat
with,
the second one, ma'am?
second one is reaction of sodium with water.
Can you repeat the one?
Ma'am, what is the first one?
Third is reaction of sodium with sulfuric acid.
Ma'am, your video is getting blurred.
Exactly.
Then next, reaction of sodium with sodium hydroxide. Okay.
Can you repeat the last one?
Reaction of sodium with sodium hydroxide.
Ma'am, your video is blurred.
No, it's not blur, it is clear. Those who are having internet issues, you can see the recording later. Okay?
It is blur only.
Because my internet is right now, I have checked it on fast.com, it is 90 Mbps. So it is good correction right now. Okay, children. So have you written down? Have you noted down?
Ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am,
Yes.
I'm Vivan. Due to some connectivity issues, I couldn't understand what the objective was.
The objective is we are going to differentiate metals and non-metals on the basis of chemical properties. Okay, so how metals are going to react with oxygen, how metals are going to react with water, and how metals are going to react with acids and bases. Okay, so the acid that we are going to use is sulfuric acid, and the base, the alkali that we are going to use is sodium hydroxide. Okay? Understood?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So now first we'll see reaction of sodium with oxygen. So children, let me show you what all things, materials required. Can you write down the materials required? So we need sodium metal. So let me show you. This is sodium metal. I have inside this. Now a very important thing is that sodium metal is stored in kerosene or in paraffin wax. Now why it is stored in kerosene or paraffin wax?
Ma'am,
Can anyone
Rudra,
tell me?
may I answer? Ma'am, Rudra.
May I answer?
Ma'am, Rudra, may I answer?
Yes.
Because it is highly reactive.
Yes, because it is highly reactive. That's the reason we store kerosene in, we store sodium in kerosene or paraffin wax. So you can see this is a sealed one right now. So last year I got it. So I'm going to open it. And the first thing is, and I have a beaker here. This is a beaker. We call it as beaker. Now very important thing is, whenever you are doing any experiment in chemistry lab, you have to remember, you have to take certain precautions. Okay, first precaution is you have to wear, what you have to wear?
Gloves.
Gloves.
So these are rubber gloves. And second thing is we need glasses. So at home I don't have any glass, but I have this, but I'm not going to wear this because I'm going to look funny. Okay, so we have to take utmost precautions. Glasses, why glasses, transparent glasses are important? Can anyone tell me? When we are doing any reaction or chemical reaction?
Some reaction takes place, it releases many toxic gases, and they might go inside our eyes and cause damage to them.
Very true. They might affect your eyes and they might harm your nervous system because you're going to smell those gases. Especially when I talk about sulfur dioxide. It is a very harmful gas because it damages your respiratory system. Okay. So the first thing, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some sodium in from this and I'm going to put it here in this beaker. Okay, and I will not bring this very close to my laptop because it might damage my laptop also. Okay, so this distance is fine.
Materials.
Is this distance fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So generally what we do in our chemistry lab, we use spatula. Okay, what we use? Spatula to remove any chemical. But here I have at home, I don't have spatula, so I'm going to use spoon. So I shouldn't be using spoon because spoon is a metal. Yes. And this sodium is highly reactive and it can damage this. So that's why I've taken a spoon which I can throw it later.
Ma'am, can you tell the materials?
The material is sodium. Right now, for the activity where we need to show that sodium reacts with oxygen, we just need sodium. as soon as I remove remove the sodium, you know what will happen? It will start reacting. And I don't know how this reaction is going to be on video.
Ma'am, can you adjust the camera so that we can see the beaker? It is not seen.
Okay, what let me do, I will just adjust the camera. It's fine. Can you see the beaker now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The sodium actually has become hard. I just got one pallet, small pallet. My goodness. Let me show you the sodium. It is very bright. Now, can you see this sodium?
No, ma'am.
You see the reaction?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Your video is
No,
blurred.
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Everything is blue.
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, your video is blur.
Ma'am, we can't see your video is blur.
Very blur.
Ma'am,
in between it is clear, but in between it is blur. Exactly.
Give me a second.
Ma'am, it is visible now.
Yes, clearly.
Internet connection.
Hello.
You can see here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Sodium
Yes,
reaction.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
reaction is violent. Now, some sodium is actually covered with paraffin.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to take someone's help also in between. Let me show you this sodium. I can cut using knife. It is very soft metal. Can you see sodium? It's on my knife.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So the reaction, the sodium is reacting violently with the oxygen. So now what is the reaction? What is forming? Here, let me adjust. Let me sit here. So sodium is forming sodium oxide. So please note down the reaction. Sodium is reacting with oxygen and forming sodium oxide. You can see here how sodium is reacting violently with air. I have not heated it. I have not done anything. Then also it is reacting at room temperature. Right now room temperature might be 25 degrees centigrade. Have you noted down?
No, ma'am.
Repeat it.
Ma'am, could you repeat?
Write down sodium reacts with oxygen, forming sodium oxide.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, is this the observation?
Yes. It is very soft metal. Okay.
Ma'am.
Note it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next, now let's
Ma'am, can you repeat?
Sodium reacts with oxygen, forming sodium oxide.
Ma'am, could you tell the chemical formula?
Okay, so Na plus O2 gives NaO, 2 NaO. Okay, you don't have to remember the chemical formula. You just have to write the word equation. Okay.
Ma'am, these oxides are basic in nature, right?
Yes. Now I don't have pH paper at home. Otherwise, I would have shown you. When I put red litmus paper inside this sodium oxide. So right now here I have little sodium oxide formed inside this beaker. And if I add, if I put this litmus paper, the red litmus paper, it will turn to blue. Okay. Understood?
Ma'am, we don't have to write the procedure.
No, you don't have to write the procedure because this procedure right now I'm using knife and whatever is available at home. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
We generally do not use these things in chemistry lab.
Ma'am, so it is basic in nature, no?
Yes, so you have to write that the metal oxide is basic in nature. Okay, finally I got litmus paper also. We have red litmus paper. Today my son is helping me with all the experiments, so he got this litmus paper for me. Okay, so can you see this litmus paper?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
now you can see, children. Can you see the color change?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
The red
Yes,
litmus
ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Now why it has changed?
Yes, ma'am.
Because
Because
the
it is
metal
basic.
oxide is basic in nature. Understood?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me keep it here. Let's proceed to the next reaction, and we are going to see how metals react with water. Okay. So I have this now for this next activity. The requirements are we need water. So in this glass bowl, I have filled with water. Let me adjust the camera. Is this fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
In this water, I'm going to add lot of sodium, not very much, because I have to take a lot of precautions also.
Ma'am, is it normal water?
It is normal water.
Ma'am, is it tap water or H2O?
Can you see?
Ma'am, is it tap water or H2O?
Did you see sparkles?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Ma'am, it is
Hydrogen
very,
gas
very
being
clear.
Yes, ma'am.
eliminated.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am, I
ma'am.
couldn't see. Can you
Yes,
show
ma'am.
again?
Ma'am, really very good.
Yes.
Ma'am, can you show it again?
No, my laptop I just saved my laptop.
Ma'am, what do we have to write?
Or your partly. Sorry. Can you just place this? Okay, just a second. Again, I'm going to show.
Ma'am, can you do it again? Ma'am, can you do it with what water?
Can you see the reaction?
Ma'am, can you do it again? I couldn't see it nicely.
I'm doing it right now.
Ma'am, we couldn't see it.
Your video is
Yes, ma'am.
blurred,
Now the
ma'am.
sparkles aren't visible.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to stay away because the popping sound is coming.
And here hydrogen gas is involved, right?
Okay? Okay. So children, you must have seen some sparkles also. So those
Yes.
sparkles were
Yes,
because
ma'am.
sodium reacted violently with water. Now, if you are not able to see it now, you can see the recording also. Because the violent, everything came on my laptop also. So I have to be very precautious now.
Ma'am, what we have to write the observation?
Please write down. Okay. So sodium. Let me change the setting now. Okay,
Ma'am, what will be the observation?
sodium reacts with water forming sodium hydroxide. So right now in this bowl we have sodium hydroxide. Okay, because sodium has reacted with water forming sodium hydroxide. Now let me test whether it is acidic or basic. Okay, using a litmus paper. Can you see the color change?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Basic in nature, right?
Yes, the red litmus changed to blue because sodium hydroxide is basic in nature. Okay, so note down the reaction written. You have written down?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this sodium
Yes,
hydroxide,
ma'am.
we are going to use it further. Okay, next thing we have to see reaction of sodium with sulfuric acid. As I told you, I have sulfuric acid. So
Ma'am, what are the materials required?
So the materials required are sodium and sulfuric acid. Okay. I'm going to use these glasses because I have to protect my eyes now.
Ma'am, is sodium hydroxide a base or a acid?
It is a base because it turned red litmus paper to blue.
Ma'am, now it is sodium with sulfur, no?
No, it is sodium with sulfuric acid. And that too concentrated sulfuric acid we are going to use here. Okay?
Ma'am, I had a doubt. Ma'am,
Yes.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that you are using sodium hydroxide or just sodium?
We are using metals. So sodium is a metal. Sodium hydroxide was a compound which was formed. Okay. So can you see the label?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes.
Ma'am, is it dilute or concentrated?
Concentrated sulfuric acid.
Ma'am, what are the materials?
So what I'm going to do in this test tube, I'm going to pour concentrated
Ma'am,
sulfuric
what are the
acid.
materials?
So material required is sulfuric acid and sodium. Please note down the materials required. And test tube, stand, and everything, all these things be required. Okay. Okay. So what else I'm going to do is, I'm going to put sulfuric acid in this, and then I'm going to add a small piece of sodium inside it. And then what will happen is,
आता आग
sodium
लागेल.
react violently. Please mute yourself. Sodium will react
Sir, glass
violently
पाहिजे.
with
खरं.
sulfuric
ही
acid.
सोडियम सल्फ्युरिक ऍसिडची रिॲक्ट होईल आणि कॉन्ड्रोकॉन्ड्रिया होईल.
Please mute
नाही
yourself.
दाखवणार ग्लास.
Shaurya, mute yourself.
Okay. So sodium will react with sulfuric acid, forming sodium sulfate, and hydrogen gas will be released. Now metals always release hydrogen gas when they react with acid. Now how to test the presence of hydrogen gas? By bringing a matchstick, means I'm going to light up the matchstick and I'm going to bring it near the mouth of the test tube. Okay. So what will happen? There will be a pop-up sound. You have to listen very carefully. There will be a pop-up sound. Okay, so let's start. Now, how do I pin myself?
Ma'am, shall we mention materials in, matchsticks in materials?
Yes, you can write down. Okay. So is the test tube visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So I'm going to test tube with concentrated sulfuric acid. Now I'm going to add I'm wearing my glasses because these are not actual glasses, those are transparent glasses just to protect my eyes. I have to light up the matchstick. So
Mummy.
okay. Now the reaction again, it is going to be violent, and let me keep it away from my laptop. Is this view okay?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
If the reaction is violent and lot of sparkles are coming, I might not bring the matchstick near it. Okay. Oh my God. Did you see the reaction?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wow, ma'am. First time.
because lot of
Very nice,
test
ma'am.
tube also broke.
Ma'am, there is so
Ma'am, very nice.
Let's start this testing now. Okay, just a second because a lot of glass pieces are also there. So let me just remove those glass pieces. Okay, children. So important thing is okay. So important thing is precaution. If you take precautions, then you can do experiments. So now write down the
And what
reaction.
is the observation?
Write down the reaction, please. Write down the observation. Sodium plus sulfuric acid.
Ma'am,
Yes. Sodium plus sulfuric acid gives
ma'am,
sodium
can you repeat
sulfate.
all the materials once?
Yeah, these are the materials which I am telling you. Sodium plus sulfuric acid gives sodium sulfate and hydrogen gas is released. Did you see those sparkles? Those sparkles were because lot of hydrogen gas was released, and hydrogen is inflammable gas. Okay.
There is a lot of discussion.
Ma'am, what is the formula?
Ma'am, can you repeat?
So what the reaction is, sodium reacts with sulfuric acid forming sodium sulfate and hydrogen gas is released. Okay.
Ma'am, what is the formula?
Okay, so the formula is, write down the formula. Na is for sodium, capital N, small a, capital N, small a is for sodium, and plus H2SO4. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. H2SO4
Yes, ma'am.
gives Na2SO4 gives Na2SO4 gives Na2SO4 plus H2 gas is released. Plus, now whenever you are writing reaction and you are writing hydrogen, so you have to show the arrow which is going upside, because all the gases which are released, they go upside. That's the reason whenever you write any gas as a byproduct, the arrow should be upside. Okay, can you mute yourself, Shloka?
Ma'am, can you repeat the formula?
Formula is Na plus H2SO4 gives Na2SO4. Now the 2 has to be written down below sodium. Na2SO4 plus hydrogen gas is released. H2 gas is released.
And the
Excuse me,
start
ma'am.
should be 2Na, right?
So the balancing can see, children, balancing is not in your portion.
Excuse me, ma'am. In this reaction, the metallic salts, which are going to be formed, will those be visible while doing the experiment?
No, see, it depends on the color of the salt. So sodium sulfate does not have any color. If it is copper sulfate, then the color, we can see the color, the blue color will come in copper sulfate.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so this is reaction of sodium with acid. Now let's see reaction of sodium with a base. Okay, so now it is going to be the same thing. Yes.
Ma'am, did the beaker burst?
No, not the beaker. Beaker is here. The beaker is safe.
No, sorry, the test tube.
Now the test tube was not of good quality. Generally, the test tubes which we use in our chemistry lab, they are made up of Borosil and they are of very good quality. So the test tube which I was having was not of good quality. Okay, so that's the reason it got burst.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So the next reaction is reaction of sodium with sodium hydroxide. So again, I'm not going to show you the reaction because sodium is reacting very violently, and even if I do it outside, it might harm me or laptop. Okay, so that's the reason I'm not doing it. But I hope you understood that how sodium reacts violently. So here, now this in this bowl, what was formed? Do you remember?
Sodium hydroxide.
Yes, very good.
Sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide is formed.
Sodium hydroxide.
Sodium
hydroxide.
Sodium will react with sodium hydroxide. Please listen carefully. Sodium will, please mute yourself and let me explain. Sodium will react with sodium hydroxide. It will form a complex base. Okay, there is no formula. You don't have to remember those formulas. It will form a complex base, but what will happen? An important thing that will differentiate from non-metals is that hydrogen gas is released. Okay, so when you put sodium inside this sodium hydroxide, lot of hydrogen gas will be released. Again, it is going to create sparkles, and that's why I'm not doing it right now, just to keep safe my laptop. Okay, so now this is all about sodium. Now let's see reaction of non-metals. Reaction of non-metals with oxygen, reaction of non-metals with water, reaction of non-metals with acid, and reaction of non-metals with base. Okay, so what I have is, I have sulfur as a non-metal.
Ma'am, can you tell the reaction
Can
of
you see the sulfur?
sodium with hydroxide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you want to know the reaction of sodium with sodium hydroxide? So
Yes,
write down
ma'am.
sodium plus sodium hydroxide
And somebody's removing me from the meeting again and again.
Write down sodium plus sodium hydroxide gives complex base plus hydrogen gas. So note it down. Please, if you have not seen, I have repeated it twice and thrice. So you can see the recording of the video if you have not heard. Okay, so next is we are
Ma'am,
going to
for
see.
the experiments with the non-metals, are you going to use sulfur only or any other
Yes,
non-metal?
I'm going to use sulfur only. Okay, so next see what happens because only 10 minutes are remaining for the class. So this will be the only experiment class for metals and non-metals. So let's do it quickly now. So I have sulfur in my hand right now and we are going to see the reaction of sulfur with air. What happens when you burn sulfur. Okay, so
Ma'am, what are the materials?
I cannot show you the burning process of sulfur because I'm not inside a chemistry lab. I'm inside my house, and what happens is when I start burning sulfur, the sulfur reacts with oxygen and it forms sulfur dioxide gas. Okay, so this sulfur dioxide gas is highly poisonous in nature. It corrodes the respiratory system, it corrodes the lungs. So you can just note down the reaction sulfur plus oxygen. Please note down.
What are the materials?
Materials required are same. Write down the reaction sulfur plus oxygen. Arrow. Now on the top of arrow you will write heat up. So when you heat up, so when you heat sulfur in air, it forms, after arrow you will write sulfur dioxide gas. Okay, it will form sulfur dioxide gas. Sulfur plus oxygen gives sulfur dioxide gas. Clear? Okay, next we will see reaction of sulfur with water. Okay, so right now in my test tube, Arnav Bavankar, can you switch off your video because it is distracting me? So I'm going to add some water here. Okay, so in this test tube I have water. Now I'm going to add just a second. Now the reactions are not violent here because sulfur does not react. So I'm not worried about, that's why I've removed my glove here.
After writing sulfur dioxide, we have to show an arrow up.
Yes, you have to show arrow because gases always go up.
Okay, ma'am. And do we have to write heat after the arrow?
Yes, you have to write because you are heating sulfur.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, the sign for heat in chemistry is a triangle, right?
Yes, triangle is the sign for heat. So I'm going to add sulfur here. Okay, let me show you the test tube. Can you see sulfur is not dissolving itself? I'm trying
Yes,
to
ma'am.
say so the sulfur does not react with water. So please note down the reaction. Sulfur plus water, no reaction. Done?
Ma'am, why are they not reacting with each other?
Because non-metals do not react with water. Okay? Instead of sulfur, even if I take coal.
Ma'am,
Yes, Ariman?
so I wanted to tell you one fact. So if you put your finger in it, your finger will not get wet.
Okay, I will not do it because
I know.
whatever chemical is, we should.
I had
Sulfur
seen
is
it in the
dangerous.
YouTube. Once
Yes,
that
sulfur is dangerous. Ariman, sulfur is dangerous. It's not good for your body. Okay.
Okay.
So the next reaction we will see is reaction of sulfur with acid. Okay. Now let's see whether sulfur reacts with acid or not.
Ma'am, what acid are we going to use?
So again, the requirement will be we need sulfur and sulfuric acid. I just have sulfuric acid. Again, I'm not worried because here again sulfur will not react with acid.
Ma'am, which is this acid?
Sulfuric acid. H2SO4.
Ma'am, but non-metals, they actually react with concentrated acids, right?
Yes, a few of them. So let us see. This is concentrated sulfuric acid. So we will come to know whether sulfur reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid or not. Okay. I can use this. So no reaction is happening.
Ma'am, why is it like that?
Can you see? Sulfur does not react with concentrated sulfuric acid. Because the reason is, see, what is the formula for sulfuric acid, children?
H2SO4. H2SO4.
And there is sulfur inside H2SO4. So obviously, because sulfur is there in H2SO4, then also it will not react. So this also might be one of the reasons, because it also has sulfur. Can you see there is no reaction, and this is concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay. So let me throw this nicely outside my, like in the balcony. I'm going to throw it because again the disposal has to be very nicely done. Okay, so last thing which is remaining is reaction of sulfur with base. Okay, that is sodium hydroxide. So do you remember in this bowl what we had? Sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide.
Sodium hydroxide.
I'm going to add sulfur here. Let me change the angle so that you can see. Can you see the bowl now?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, only half of the side of the screen is visible. The other half, Arnav Bavankar's name is coming.
Can you pin me? If you pin me, then you can see. So here now sulfur is reacting with sodium hydroxide. So can you note down the reaction? Can you write down the reaction? Okay, in the earlier one, sulfur plus sulfuric acid. So arrow, no reaction. Sulfur plus water, no reaction. And sulfur plus sodium hydroxide. Now this is the last reaction, please note it down. Sulfur plus sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is NaOH. Capital N, small a, OH. So the reaction is sulfur plus NaOH gives complex base. So the reaction is happening and a complex base is formed, but no hydrogen gas is released.
Ma'am, can you repeat the reaction?
So the reaction is sulfur plus sodium hydroxide gives complex base and no hydrogen. So how do you differentiate metals and non-metals on the basis of reaction with sodium hydroxide? In case of metals, hydrogen gas is released, but in case of non-metals, no hydrogen gas is released. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Is everyone clear with the differences between chemical properties of metals and non-metals?
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Any
Yes,
doubt?
ma'am.
Any doubt?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Then I'm going to show you. See, I have few chemicals at my home. That's why I'm able to show you. I was thinking to show you reactions, elephant toothpaste. I think many of you must have done these experiments also. Does anyone know what is elephant toothpaste?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am,
When
going to show
last
it?
one comes, na?
Yes, ma'am.
If you want, I can
Last
show
one
you.
comes. Then it like comes out.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
yes,
can
ma'am.
you
Please
show,
show
ma'am?
Ma'am, please show.
We are
ready to see it.
Please mute
Ma'am, we are
yourself.
ready to see.
Ronak, can you tell me what is elephant toothpaste and what all materials are required? Okay. Who has done the elephant toothpaste experiment? Can anyone tell me what are the materials required?
Ma'am, I have only seen.
Ma'am, wait.
That's what I've seen.
Can you tell your name? Can you tell your name? Who has seen? Shreyansh?
Ma'am, this is Rida here.
Can I tell Amadisha?
Ma'am, actually I have done it, but I remember only one thing which is required to make it.
Ma'am, I have seen it.
It is potassium permanganate.
Yes, so I have potassium permanganate. Can you see?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is potassium permanganate. Okay, and we need a little soap solution also. So this is a dish soap. Any soap solution is okay. And we need hydrogen peroxide. Yeah, potassium iodide,
Ma'am,
but
very big comes, na?
I'm going to use hydrogen peroxide. Can you see?
And from where can we get potassium
Yes,
permanganate? Like any household item.
See, you won't get generally. You won't don't get it loosely. You need certain license to get all these chemicals.
Ma'am, we can use yeast also, right?
Yes, you can use yeast also in that. Okay, so let's do this experiment, and after doing this experiment, my place is going to be mess and I will have to clean it. But then it's okay because all of you should understand certain chemical reactions. Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you repeat the materials?
Okay, the materials required are, let me set up and then I'll switch on the video again. The materials required are hydrogen peroxide, potassium permanganate, and dish soap. Any liquid soap.
Ma'am, do we have to
I had
write this in our
disconnected for
notebook?
some time. Can you
Ma'am,
please
can you
repeat
repeat?
what you are saying?
Okay, so the materials required are hydrogen peroxide, liquid soap, and potassium permanganate.
Ma'am? Ma'am, this is Anika. Actually, I had disconnected for the last 5 minutes. So, can you please tell what you're doing?
Beta, you can see the recording right now. I'm going to start my video and I'm going to show how elephant toothpaste is formed.
Ma'am, is the elephant toothpaste flammable?
No, it's not flammable, but it is very hot. It becomes very hot. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
So let me complete the setup and then I'll start the video.
Ma'am, I can't see you.
Can you see this glass?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to place this glass inside this tray. Is this visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, inside this glass, we have some soap solution. Okay. Now, after this, I'm going to add potassium permanganate solution. Okay. Now, how do I prepare it? So, I will be adding, this is a glass filled with water. Can you see?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is potassium permanganate and it is violet in color, pinkish violet in color. I'm going to mix it here. Lot of potassium permanganate is there.
Ma'am, why is it called elephant toothpaste?
Because it comes like the size of the toothpaste. Normally the size of the toothpaste which comes out is very small. But the kind of the paste when it forms is bigger inside. It is huge. That's the reason. Okay. So now be tuned and please look towards the reaction and then I'm going to move away because it releases heat. I'm going to add hydrogen peroxide. Did you see?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Something coming out?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
reaction.
Ma'am, it is
just
chocolatey color.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I need to add more hydrogen peroxide. Can you see?
Ma'am, the reaction is very big. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
It is a very good reaction.
Should I bring laptop more closer to it? Can you see now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you see the
Yes,
color
ma'am.
also?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, children. So this is done for the day. And any doubts or any queries regarding this, please ask.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, can you hang
everything
up?
we just wrote, are we supposed to write it again in the journal or in the notebook? Because I wrote this in
Yes,
a rough book.
in journal, you will have to write this activity.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, whenever you get your journal, you will have to write these activities. Okay.
Ma'am, can we leave?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. How was it? Did you like it or not?
Ma'am, what is the
Yes, ma'am.
reaction?
It was a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very
Very
good.
much. Awesome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Bye,
what is
ma'am.
the reaction?
Very nice demonstration.
Thank you so much. And
I'm
in the
very
next,
nice. Thank you for what is the reaction?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you,
Bye,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you,
Have a nice
ma'am.
day.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Have a nice day, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you.
yes,
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
for the elephant toothpaste, that was just for understanding of how potassium permanganate reacts with hydrogen peroxide. That is a complex reaction. You don't have to remember it now.